11,000 energy from a hot dog. People said those things are bad for you. I don't understand. Shenanigans, back again, and welcome to MMOMG. I'm 3 weeks into Echo of Soul, and I have a couple of interesting points to share with you this week. First off, a tip to new players with an accompanied complaint to those in charge. Don't worry, I have a lot of positive things to go over this episode, but I kind of need to preface part of it with what I have to say here. So here it is. Dull gems are absolutely worthless. Just sell them right away, get rid of them at every opportunity. Why? Well, all players are given a set of swift growth gems very early on, which are equivalent to plus 12 dull gems. That's the highest quality a gem can be. Since you can re-slot gems into new gear for free, you'll never really have a need for dull gems. A note that swift growth gems cannot be placed into level 60 plus gear, but guess what? At level 55, you're given a set of wild growth gems that are equivalent to plus 8 lucid jewels. While I appreciate helping new players catch up to the veterans, rendering an entire swath of rewards useless isn't the best way to go about it. I'm sure I'm not the only noob to hoard a bunch of these gems hoping they'll be useful later on only to discover, no, you're just wasting premium storage space. So yeah, the people in charge of the game either find a new use for dull gems, remove them entirely, or nerf the swift growth set or something. Make dull gems great again, I don't know. Anyway, now that that mess is out of the way, let's get to the good stuff. So, my guild invited me to take part in random battlefields this week. It has been fantastic. Now, admittedly, it can be spotty getting enough people to fill the queue, which is kind of a shame because they're really good and they're well worth your time. You can access battlefields using the PvP button down on the bottom of the menu. Now, while it says random battlefields are a 15-on-15 affair, recent changes allow for teams as small as 3 players on each side to get a match going. This has reduced the wait time for battlefields significantly, and the matches are still interesting at such a small team size. By the way, don't worry about joining battlefields as a low-level player. Everyone's stats are scaled up to be on roughly equal footing, and for the most part it works really well. Sure, high-level characters will have access to more skills, but battles are still pretty even. I've definitely noticed mount speed being a factor from time to time, but that can be accounted for if your team actually works together. Anyway, once enough players join, you're all summoned to one of the 2 maps, either Metals Theater or Tribulation Vale. Metals Theater is a pentagon-shaped map with 5 control spots. The object of the map is to collect 10,000 points. The more control spots your team has captured, the faster you gain those points. Each team has its own camp or spawn area, and attempting to enter the enemy team's camp will kill you immediately, a feature that considerably cuts down on spawn camping. If a team has 4 or more control spots, the other team gains access to a secondary spawn point in the center of the map, which allows those players to easily get to any control spot on the map. This is an excellent mechanic that gives an opportunity for a team to catch up without handing them the catch-up, which I think is really good. Also of note, a boss NPC can spawn in a cave at the very south end of the map. Killing this NPC supposedly awards your team with points and buffs, though I've never seen anyone actually fight it. Maybe people don't know about it, maybe he's not worth the trouble, I'm not really sure. As for Metals Theater itself, it's by far my favorite of the 2 maps. It reminds me of a slimmed down and in many ways improved version of Arathi Basin, which I think speaks volumes as that's a favorite map among many WoW players. It's quickly become one of my favorite PvP maps of any MMO. Moving on, Tribulation Vale is comprised of 2 camps located north and south with 5 lanes in between. Resources spawn in the center of each lane, and the first team to get to 200 points worth of resources wins. Now these lanes are floating strips of ground mostly separated by void, meaning you're not going to be able to switch lanes whenever you want. The outer lanes are higher up though, and each lane is a little wider towards the center of the map, allowing players to jump down into an inner lane. Each lane begins with a resource ready to capture, and they respawn at various intervals with a public notice indicating which lanes will have more resources soon. Additionally, concentrated resources can spawn, which are worth vastly more points. I've yet to see these concentrated resources appear anywhere else but the center lane, but since everyone funnels into there eventually, it kind of makes sense. While this is an interesting map, Tribulation Vale can easily become lopsided. If the team that's currently dominating also grabs a concentrated resource, the match is almost over right then and there. That said, this often feels like the faster of the two maps, so at least you're not stuck there long if it does turn into a no-win situation. Once the battle is over, the scoreboard pops up to announce victory or defeat, and hitting the exit button returns you to your previous location. Your rewards are given to you immediately, and they're placed in your inventory, so make sure to have at least 3 open spots before joining a battlefield. Win or lose, participants receive a scroll that gives XP immediately on use, as well as random gems and cooking materials appropriate for your character's level. Battlefield rewards are really, really good, as in, why the hell isn't everyone doing this kind of good? If you want to level your character, this is by far the fastest means to do so, at least while the queues are active. The cooking materials are a godsend for anyone level 40 and above, as they replace the need for grinding or backtracking to previous zones, which is both a hassle and fairly boring. The gems that are rewarded are often a handful of +1 lucids, which can eventually be used towards upgrading beyond the wild growth set. As if that wasn't enough, you also get hero badges, which is a currency you can use to purchase gear from a handful of vendors. You're capped at 2,000 badges, and you can earn them fairly quickly, so I suggest stopping in often to spend those badges on better gear. As for personal progress, I made it to level 67 this week. On average, that's about an hour per level, but it was much faster while doing the battlegrounds actively. And again, this was mostly due to the battlefield rewards. I have a full set of level 64 PvE gear from the battlefield vendor, and more hero badges than I really know what to do with. I'm still doing the story quests for fun in between battles, as I still want to see the zones even though I'm far out leveled for them. Anyway, that just about does it for this episode. Next week, I'll be wrapping up my month in Echo of Soul with final thoughts, and hopefully an idea of what to expect at Endgame. Join me on the NA server or watch live, Sundays through Wednesdays, starting 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/shenanigans1930. Please like this video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe for more MMO-related content. I do already have a game in mind for next month, but feel free to suggest games for me to cover in the coming months down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys. Yeah, there's no way.
This is our first defeat. All night.
Oh.
I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you. This is your fault.
I'm not there, so y'all lost. You know what? That's the kind of blame I'm willing to take. I'll take that blame.